heard it or read it. Okay, so we'll start off. This is the celebration of life for John. Here's the obituary we wrote at the time. So John William Chaplin, 77, of Leawood, Kansas, passed away unexpectedly on April 1st, 2023. John was born October 15th, 1945 in Nottingham, England. He was the oldest of four brothers, his twin Michael, and younger brothers Jeff and Robert. The boys were raised solely by their mother, Barbara. At an early age, John took on the role as head of the family. As such, he made it his responsibility to keep the family together and made every effort to maintain strong family ties regardless of where life took him or his family members. John graduated from Manchester University with a master's in physics. He came to the U.S. in 1967 on the management training program with General Electric. His first assignment was in Oklahoma City, where he met his wife, Barbara Chaplin. They were married for 55 years. John was drafted in the U.S. Army and was sent to Walter Reed Army Medical Hospital as a nuclear physicist. While in the Army, he became a naturalized citizen. After finishing his 2 years in the Army, he returned to work as a manager for GE. His son Christopher and daughter Lisa were born in Denver, Colorado. He was transferred by GE to Kansas City in 1975. He stayed with GE until 1984 when he started working for Siemens as a field engineer and traveled all around the world to repair Siemens switchgear and circuit breakers. He continued working for Siemens for over 30 years until he retired in 2014. He has been a member of Leawood United Methodist Church for over 45 years, where he loved attending church services. He's also a member of the YMCA, where he went almost every day to exercise, but he always enjoyed talking to the staff and other members. He never met a stranger. People found him to be humorous and delightful. He was a bit of a character, so people always remembered meeting him, but he always made a positive impact on people's lives. John leaves behind his wife Barbara, daughter Lisa, and son Christopher, Chris's wife Mary, and John's grandchildren Robbie and Lauren. In addition to his brothers Michael, Jeff, and Robert Chaplin, John also leaves his two stepbrothers Richard and Harold Cassidy. Also included all the spouses, children, and grandchildren of those mentioned above, who also love John dearly. That's it. David probably remembers this. I don't know if David has a video, but this touched me, and I thought it was a good summary of my dad. So when David emailed this to me shortly after my dad's passing, I thought I'd read this to all of you as well, because it made an impact on me. Hi, Cousin Chris. I expect you have already heard this more times than you care to remember by now, but I was so sorry to hear about your dad. I wanted to send you my sincerest condolences. It has really stunned me. I can't imagine what you, your mom, and Lisa are going through. It was a very bad last night when Forest were defeated by Leeds, and I didn't get the inevitable email Skype call from your dad complaining about how useless they were. The last I heard from him was a very brief email on Saturday when they had just blown a win against Wolverhampton Wanderers. He really knew how to keep in touch and just knit the whole family together. He also clearly loved the next Chaplin generation of kids dearly. He was very proud of his grandkids and his great nephews and nieces. It wasn't just football, of course. He was a big influence and character for me from a very young age. Despite being in the U.S., he kept as close to us as any UK relative, and much closer than most. Maybe that was because of his twin thing with my dad, and also all the travel in his career, which meant he could drop by the UK so frequently. I always look forward to his visits. When I think about it, he had such a big impact on me because he was always so encouraging and supportive. I don't think I would have been motivated to go to Cambridge, for example, without him. I can quite vividly remember one visit when I was probably a young teenager, and we took him to see Oxford. He was so impressed with the place, he told me I should apply to go there as it would be a family honor. Well, I plumped for Cambridge in the end, but same difference. I definitely had what he said in mind. And then he ended up attending my graduation too, which is unusual in the UK. I also very nearly became an electronic engineer, and even at one stage tried to join the RAF University Air Squadron to get flying lessons on his advice, though that was not for me. I'll leave the flying to you. Then before that, I can recall him helping me with my A-levels physics when I was at school. There was one homework question my physics teacher set us, which he told us was impossibly hard, and had taken two teachers, both with physics degrees, working together to solve, and they had it set in an error. He told the class to skip that question. Well, it coincided with John visiting, and he showed me how to do it in about 2 minutes. I remember him telling me he hadn't done physics in 30 years, so as he was doing it. The teachers couldn't believe it when I handed my answer, and they thought I was some kind of genius. I did tell them in the end that my uncle helped. Your dad had a very high intellect indeed. It was always very clear how proud you he was, particularly your graduation sticks in mind, and the career you've had in the Air Force and beyond, and your wife and kids. We got regular updates on Robbie's progress as another pilot. He was very funny too, eccentric and completely unfiltered. This made family gatherings. I found it very entertaining to watch him and my dad together, particularly when they were out and about and your dad would be chatting to people they met. People really did like talking to him, and he was so friendly and welcoming, and he meant it all too. There were no platitudes. I always remember him taking me to see relatives in Nottingham when we were en route to football matches that my dad and Jeff, despite living just down the road, had completely lost touch with. I had never even met them. He really valued his family and his English Nottingham heritage. Just and I keep thinking of things he said or did when he visited, very fond memories. I hear you're in Kansas City with your mom and Lisa, and I'm glad you're all able to get together. I can't imagine how strange, sad, and difficult it is for you. It sounds like you have the support of the community around you who are all fond of John as everyone else he met. If there's anything I can do, let me know. Your dad came to visit us in Carlsfeld, and one of the places I took him to was a local English ale pub called The Hope to experience some of their brews. And I hope I can buy you a pint of what I got him, and we can toast them together. Take care, David. So, I really love that story about him solving the physics, the impossible physics problem in 2 minutes, and just how he also inspired David to go to Cambridge. So that really meant a lot to hear that story. I think that's all I have written down.
They talked every time there was a Forest game.
Oh yeah.
They would get on Skype and talk and analyze it and either cheer or swear.
David had the endurance to do that, and so did David next door. To put up with my dad and the Chiefs, because I had to stop doing it. Because he would call me after the Chiefs games and he'd just complain about how horrible they were, and I couldn't watch games with him either because he was so, anticipating the biggest disaster, and I just couldn't handle it. But somehow David and David both had the endurance to be able to put up with it and enjoyed commiserating about their teams. So it's funny that now Forrest has survived all that tragedy back then. They've survived the relegation. So. But I think that's all I have written down, unless anyone else has something.
It's been 2 months since Dad's passed away. I've kept track of how long it's been.
Yeah, it's still very fresh though.
April 1st, or something, April Fool's Day.
April 1st,
Yeah.
Yeah,
for a
I
while.
thought it was
Leave
a
it to
joke when
John
I
to
saw
die,
your
to die on the
post.
day that he's
Yeah.
making a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can show a few of the videos, Chris.
Videos? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's